My mother-in-law showed her true racist colors when she demanded my husband choose between her and his red-skinned wife, but she never expected he would pick me and leave her behind for good. Posted by u/OK_classroom 1548. My husband and I have been together for 4 years, and we just got married in October 2022. He's amazing, quite literally the man of my dreams, and I have an amazing life with him now. My parents and the rest of my family love him. I'm Native American and have a really big family, and he comes to family events, holidays, cookouts, etc., and I haven't heard a single member of my family say they didn't like him. My husband's family is very small. Other than his parents, he has one brother, his wife, and their 2 kids. His brother and his family live multiple states away, so we only see them around the holidays, and they don't really have much extended family. So the only members of my husband's family I really see are his parents. His parents are the stereotypical white conservative small-town Christians. My husband is no longer religious. My mother-in-law stays at home and tends to the house while my father-in-law works. I was worried about his parents' beliefs at first, as I practice my native tribe's spiritual beliefs. I'm very left-leaning socially and politically, I don't dress very conventionally, and my husband and I have no desire to have children. But they were pretty chill with me when I met them for the first time. I have had no problems with his dad, but over time, I have begun having trouble with his mother. She just flat out doesn't like me. According to my father-in-law, she has said I'm not the kind of woman that needs to be with her son. Her reasoning is that I don't act like a woman, I won't be a housewife, and I have a man's job. I'm a flight paramedic for a service that airlifts critically unstable patients. I love my job, and I love being a paramedic. My husband has never expressed that he wants me to be a housewife or take up a stereotypically feminine job. If he did, we wouldn't be together. But apparently, that's what his mother thinks he needs. When I first met his parents, we had been dating for about 5 months. My mother-in-law initially said that I didn't look like the kind of woman my husband would bring home. I didn't take it to heart, I figured she didn't mean it in a harsh way. When they asked what I did for work, I told them I was a flight medic. My father-in-law said that was awesome, while my mother-in-law just kind of frowned and didn't say anything. She was pretty cordial in the beginning, but as my husband and I got more and more serious, she began to dislike me more. It started with snide comments. She would manage to sneak into conversations the fact that she thinks women should be homemakers or have jobs like teachers or caretakers. When I started working 48-hour shifts, she asked who was going to take care of the housework. My husband told her he would while I was gone those 2 days. She got upset and said it wasn't fair that I made her son do it all by himself while I left. My husband told her that we split household chores evenly and that it was fine. One day, we were over at their place, and she went off on this rant about how she missed when women acted like women and men acted like men. She started talking about how women needed to start being housewives and mothers again while the men worked and provided. While she never directly said it, I knew she included me in that. My father-in-law told her to calm down and that this wasn't the time for that kind of discussion, and she got mad and said, "Well, it's just the truth," while looking in my direction. I'm not an idiot, I knew this rant was just a way for her to tell me how she felt without directly telling me. My husband was pretty angry when we left, and I can't say I was too pleased. I told him she was allowed to have her opinion, no matter how stupid it was, and I wasn't going to lose sleep over the fact that she seems to still be living in the 1950s. He said he was angry about the blatant disrespect. He talked to her about it and said she wouldn't do it again, so I managed to let that situation roll off my shoulders. Everything came to a head with her a few weeks ago. My father-in-law invited us over for dinner, so we went. My cousin is getting married in a few months, and my husband mentioned that we were going to the wedding. It will be a traditional wedding in accordance with our tribe's customs. My father-in-law said that was cool, and my mother-in-law asked if there was going to be alcohol there. I didn't really see how that was an issue, so I said yes. She responded with, "Son, you don't need to be around all that drinking." My husband said it was fine and that it wouldn't be a problem. She said, "No, you don't need to go. It's not safe if there's going to be alcohol there." I asked, "Why wouldn't it be safe? It's not like we're going to be at a bar. It's just going to be my family." She then said, "Well, some people can get violent when they drink." I knew exactly what some people meant and that this was a racist remark. I told her that no one would be getting violent and that everyone would have a designated driver. My husband then said that we were going and that there wasn't going to be any negotiation about it because he was a grown man and could make decisions for himself. That just made her more upset, and she started going off about how it wasn't a good idea for him to be around a bunch of drunk people. After my father-in-law told her to calm down, my husband asked why it mattered so much to her anyway since it's not like we were forcing her to go with us. She then said, "I just don't think it's a good idea for you to be around a bunch of drunk Indians." I was in shock. I knew this was what she meant, but I didn't think she had the balls to flat out say it. I said, "You can't be serious." She proceeded to tell me, "I'm serious. I know how you people are, and I don't want my son around it." My husband began to lose it and started yelling at her. I honestly didn't have a response to that, I was just dumbfounded, as was my father-in-law. My husband told her he would not stand for her blatant disrespect and hatefulness any longer and was not going to allow her to be racist toward me. She then said, "I can't believe you're seriously choosing this red-skinned beach over your own mother. I gave birth to you." I told her to go F herself and walked out the front door, with my husband following me. She came running out the door after him, begging him not to leave. He then told her, "No, F you. You're dead to me, and I never want to hear from or see you again." He was shaking with anger when he got in the car and told me he was done with her and her BS and that we wouldn't be going back over there. Ever since then, she has been blowing up our phones, saying she's sorry and begging to reconcile. I don't know what to do. My husband is angry and upset that his mother is like this. Does anyone have any advice on how to deal with a situation like this? Update 1 day later. Hello again, this is a follow-up/update to my post about my mother-in-law being racist and calling me a slur. There is a little more to my story that I couldn't fit into the original post. The reason I didn't have much of an adverse reaction to her words is because, sadly, these are things I've heard my whole life. I'm not white passing, and you can take one look at me and tell I'm native. I think what shocked so many people about what my mother-in-law said is that many believe explicit racism like that is a thing of the past when, in reality, it is still very much alive in the minds of some. After the incident took place, my husband and I went home, and my mother-in-law tried to call and text both of us to beg for forgiveness. She told us she was sorry and wanted to make amends. I blocked her, and my husband told her to leave him alone until he and I worked through this. My husband also told his brother about the situation, and he was horrified as well. My father-in-law also contacted us and said he was sorry for what had happened. He said he didn't know she had thoughts like this, and in the moment, he was so shocked by what she said that he didn't know what to say or do. He asked if it would be possible for my husband and me to speak with just him to see what he could do moving forward. We agreed. We ended up having a video call with my husband, my father-in-law, and my husband's brother, who I'll just call brother-in-law going forward. My brother-in-law said there wasn't much he could do because he lives several states away, but he would support us in whatever decision we made and would be sending a strongly worded message to my mother-in-law. My father-in-law was very emotional about the situation and said he didn't want to lose his son over what my mother-in-law said and that he would do anything to maintain contact with my husband. He was so upset and confused as to why she thought the way she did and why it was all coming out now. I said that she may have always felt this way, but because they live, and have always lived, in predominantly white communities, I was the first person she knew to take it out on. Everyone agreed with that. My father-in-law said he wanted to suggest that she go to therapy or some sort of counseling to work through these feelings and that he planned to tell her she had a choice, either seek help to change her narrow view of the world or lose both her son and him. He said that I make my husband happy, and as his father, there is nothing more he could ever want. We all agreed that counseling would definitely be beneficial to her if she was willing to go. My husband said he does not want to talk to my mother-in-law right now and that he doesn't know when or if he will be able to. He said that if he had anything to say to her or if there was an emergency, he would go through my father-in-law to reach her. In the meantime, he will be blocking her number. I said I just didn't want any contact at all, and we all left it at that. I also told my parents and some elders in my community, and they were upset too because they have heard the same things before. But they commended my husband for having my back and said they understood my decision to go no contact. And that's the situation right now. I want to thank everyone who left kind words and advice on the original post. I made it to see if we had maybe done something wrong or if the decision to go no contact was a bad one, but I now see that it is probably the best option. While this situation and what was said upset me, the kind words on my first post remind me that there is still good in this world. And if anyone else is going through a similar situation, I'll tell you what my dad told me: you can never force people to be kind to you, but you can make the choice to surround yourself with kind people. Thank you all. Second update 2 months later. Hi again. It's been a couple of months since I last posted about my situation, in which my mother-in-law called me a red-skinned beach and said my family was a bunch of drunk Indians. I figured I'd conclude the story since I think this mess is finally coming to an end. Long story short, my father-in-law is divorcing my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law went to counseling twice a week for about 3 weeks until she eventually decided she had enough of it. I guess she thought that was enough to make my father-in-law and husband happy, but she showed no real remorse for her actions or any change in her racist mindset. My father-in-law told us that they had gotten into an argument about how I was taking their son away from them, to which he said that she had driven my husband away from them, not me. My mother-in-law was very angry that my father-in-law continued to take our side in the situation instead of hers. This erupted into a very heated argument between the two of them, and my father-in-law didn't go into extensive detail. She ended up saying more bad things about me, how I had torn her family apart, made a mockery of her, stolen her son, and pushed her husband and other son away from her. In reality, if she had just kept her mouth shut, this all could have been avoided. My husband is pissed, naturally. I can't say I feel much emotion about it, though. I feel bad for my husband and his family, as they are losing contact with their mother and wife. But then again, I also see a bitter old racist getting what she deserves. It's a crappy situation overall. My father-in-law said my mother-in-law was so angry she left the house and is staying with a friend for the time being while lawyers sort things out. He is still very upset, which I understand. He told me he felt terrible about the whole thing, but he didn't want to remain married to an evil woman, someone who would drive his children away. He told me that he understands he is not a perfect man, has made mistakes, and hasn't always been the most accepting or open-minded, but he wants to become a better person and try to understand people of other cultures and identities. I greatly respect that. So, in an attempt to lift his spirits, I offered to take him to a powwow a couple of weeks ago, and he accepted. My husband has gone with me several times, but this would be my father-in-law's first experience with anything like that. I introduced him to my family, and he was very respectful. He had a blast. We danced, sang, listened to the music, and ate until our stomachs were about to pop. He thanked my family and me for letting him be a part of this and said he hadn't had this much fun since he was a young man. My family and I thanked him for being a good person and sticking by my husband and me through such a messy situation. My father tried to console him by saying that sometimes the best way to grow is to cut ties with toxic people who will hold you back. Honestly, I think this is the best this could have gone, and I'm so happy my husband didn't have to cut ties with both his parents because he's always been so close to his father. I can see that my father-in-law is trying to be a good person and become a more accepting and supportive guy. I'm very happy about that. I'd like to again say thank you to those of you who left such positive comments on my previous posts. It really means a lot to me and makes me happy to know that there are people with good hearts out there. And to any natives who have dealt with or are dealing with racist comments, discrimination, or being called racial slurs, never stop existing, because our existence is the biggest form of rebellion. We're still here, and we're not going anywhere. Thank you, all of you kind internet strangers. Peace and love always.